So let's get into this.
Yeah. So a part of how we'll be discussing this is hearkening to our friend Dr. Dario Nardi's work that he's been doing over the last couple of years on subtypes. There is an entire podcast that we recorded with Dario, I can't remember how long ago, where he discusses this subtype theory and how it emerged using EEG scans and noticing that even within the same type, there was slightly different brain patterns, right? Brain wiring patterns. Yeah. And how that ended up really interfacing or sort of colliding with like socionic subtypes. In fact, the names that he has for these 4 subtypes are borrowed with permission from Dr. Victor Galenko, who works in subtypes, in socionics. Yeah. And also Dr. Helen Fisher's work in neurotransmitters. There's some crossover there too.
Yeah.
So what's interesting about this subtype work is that a part of how he noticed that they existed at all, or the first pattern that started to emerge, was that certain career paths were creating certain subtypes, or at least influencing them.
Yeah.
And he realized that at the age of 25 and after, your career has the most influence on how your type shows up. And he put them into these 4 different subtypes. So the conversation around careers and type isn't just what is a good career for my type to go into. It's how do I want my type to evolve over time? Because the career path I choose is going to be a major influence on that.
So we're talking about Dr. Nardi, who brought people into his laboratory knowing their type. So you're an INFJ. He had INFJs come in. He connected a bunch of INFJs and other types as well to EEG machines and watch the brain patterns show up based on their cognition. He'd give them different exercises and watch the brain patterns form. And he noticed a pattern of 4 different brain configurations for INFJs that have this style, the expression. It's basically a different expression of the INFJ mind. And this correlates, like you said, with neurotransmitters and basically gives us an indicator of not only maybe the aptitude or the type of career you as an INFJ would want to choose, but when you do choose a career, it starts to feedback. You're saying feedback and influence the flavoring of your INFJ nature, the style or the way you show up as an INFJ in the world.
Right. So there does seem to be evidence that indicates that your best fit type is pre-wired, meaning that we're born with it. But the flavor of your type, your subtype in this case, is actually something that is more nurture influenced than nature. And so a part of this too is that you're not stuck in any one subtype. Depending upon your context and your influences and the lifestyle choices you make, you can actually go from one subtype to another. In fact, I think Dario said that he was really reluctant to use the word subtype because he didn't want people thinking that they were hedged in or they were stuck in this flavor or variety.
Yeah.
I think he was going to originally use the word variant, but that kind of got messed up. And variant has a different
meaning
now. So he decided to go with the term subtype, even though he was reluctant because of that idea that we're stuck there. But it's important to understand that because it's nurture oriented, again, as I mentioned, the career you choose isn't just what is good for you, right? Or what you will enjoy. It's also, what do I want influencing me 40 plus hours a week to become a certain kind of person with certain kinds of, different mental processing capacities.
Yeah. Well, before we get into that deeper stuff, let's consult the internet. What does the internet say? If you were to go and do a search as an INFJ, what's a top 10 list from the internet? So I just did a casual, this is not like super deep work. I just did a casual search and compiled a list of 10 commonly held ideas for INFJs and careers. So here is the top 10 INFJ career choices according to the internet. Number 1, counselor, psychologist, or therapist. Number 2, social worker, nonprofit professional. 3, writer, author. 4, teacher, educator. 5, human resource manager, recruiter. 6, artist or designer. 7, religious or spiritual leader. 8, healthcare professional, like a nurse, doctor, something like that. 9, lawyer or mediator. Number 10, management consultant or organizational developer. Sounds like INFJs can literally do anything. Like they have a really wide breadth of options in front of them. And I think there's some truth to that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, there does seem to be a lot of variety, but I would say that certain subtypes are more attracted to careers on that list than other subtypes would be. Or rather, choosing that career path might end up creating or determining your subtype.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting thing because not every INFJ is going to be interested in every one of those career paths. The other thing is, I do want to make a note that if you are new to type,
Yeah.
this particular episode is we want to design it so that even if you're brand new and you just discovered you have INFJ preferences or you're just playing around with the idea, we want to make this accessible. And so we're not going to make it, we're not going to turn this into something that's so technical that you won't be able to follow along. But if you are super into type and a type geek, we'll have some of that jargon in there as well. So for the newbies, when we're about to go into geeky tech jargon, we'll go ahead and give you a warning that that's where we're headed.
So the 4 subtypes for the INFJ are called dominant, creative, normalizing, and harmonizing. So let's just walk through these now.